Unplug your cleaning routine with the Ryobi 18-Volt One Plus cordless cleaning lineup. From tackling bathroom tile with the soap-dispensing telescoping power scrubber, to cleaning wet and dry messes with the 2-in-1 Wet-Dry Swift Clean Stick Vacuum, to cleaning up pet hair and debris with our advanced stick vacuum, Ryobi has a solution for every cleaning task. And because one battery powers over 300 products, you have the power to do more. Visit ryobitools.com to learn more. Sold exclusively at the Home Depot.
Welcome to the VSiN Weekend Morning Line on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Hour number 2 of the VSiN Weekend Morning Line. I'm Tim Murray, live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas. 2 Game 7s today, one on the ice, one on the hardwood. Do they deliver at a better than 50% clip? Because last night, Clippers and Nuggets, well, I guess if you had Nuggets to win the series, I believe, I got to check in with Humans. Humans had a ticket, Nuggets to win in 7. So I don't know what that paid, but whatever it was, probably Humans was a happy guy last night. JVT, on the other hand, probably not so happy, even though just judging from our hit yesterday on the show, he seemed pretty resigned to the fact that it was going to play out like it ultimately did, and it did fall that way. So we do get a Game 7 in the NBA tonight. The Golden State Warriors, a 2.5-point underdog against the Houston Rockets. Once upon a time, led this series 3-1, dropped Game 5 in Houston, dropped Game 6 back in the Bay, and now find themselves as a 2.5-point underdog. Total 205.5. Rick Kamla going to join us coming up in less than 15 minutes. Always love getting Rick's perspective on all things NBA, so he's going to join us here in just a little bit. More breakdown on what to expect on the ice tonight, as well as a look at the 3 series that will get going early next week in the NHL. My guy, Stephen Whyno from the Associated Press. I wanted to hit on a couple of things here regarding yesterday, and our production team was able to pull the clip that I saw. I didn't see it until this morning of our guy, Mark Malusis, who is now doing some work with us. You know him, I'm sure, from his work in New York on WFAN and on TV there in New York. He was on the program last week, but he channeled a lot of Kramer yesterday on a video that he put out on social media. And this is what I love about the Kentucky Derby. And look, I don't know Mark. Mark might be a big horse guy, you know, being in New York and Saratoga there. So maybe he's a horse guy through and through, but I wasn't full on Moose yesterday, but there were a lot of similarities. So I want to play you the clip. We'll talk over it here. This was just a portion of Mark yesterday via his own social media as he was watching Sovereignty. There he is. I could have used, I just tweeted him. I could have used a little more of the Kramer to come on. But we were all Mark yesterday. And Mike Samich, I'd give my tip of the cap to you, sir. Well done. Drew Dinsick, we replayed the portion of Drew twice yesterday on the show where he told us the best closer in the field. He was live there at the Derby with the slop. He said the best closer in the field is Sovereignty. You got to put Sovereignty up on top. And he felt like journalism, too, wasn't going to, go away. And ultimately, 8-18-21, or 18-8-21, I beg your pardon, was the finish. The small, I got two little bad beats, and it's crying over spilled milk. Look, I also had multiple tickets on the Avs last night, so I was enjoying it, and then ultimately gave it all back with those 2 Avs series price tickets. But look, I said it on the show yesterday. I will never hide from it. I am as novice as it comes when it comes to horse racing. So that's why I listen to the smart people we have here on the network, the guests that we have come on. Brittany Urton, if you listen back to her interview with us on VSiN Primetime on Wednesday, she kept coming back to Sovereignty, how much she liked the 18 horse. So he gets it done. And it goes 18-8-21. And the dope that I am, because yesterday, if you saw it on the network, Samich put together a $24 superfecta that nailed on the air. And I had the 3 horses that went 1, 2, 3, but I did an exacta box, not a trifecta box. So look, still was able to get it done, and still was happy with the result there. And we didn't have the viral video of like Mark Malusis did, but had to show that to you, put a little smile on your face. All right, here's another small beat. So my little guy is getting into baseball, and that's exciting for me. My guy's 7 years old. He's in 2nd grade, and he's playing coach pitch right now. And yesterday, after work, we were out and about, and he said, "Hey, Dad, can we watch some baseball?" I'm like, "Absolutely, let's watch some baseball." Yeah, I've been waiting for those words to be uttered your whole life. So I find a college baseball game. I throw it on. I think it was App State versus Coastal Carolina. We're just watching it. Watches it for a little bit. We go about doing the rest of the day. Come back home. Is there any Major League Baseball games on? I'm like, yeah, there is. There's, I live out in here in Vegas, so we've got 2 games that you could watch. It was the Giants were putting on the finishing touches on the Rockies, so we watched the end of that. And then we flipped over to the Marlins taking on the Oakland A's, or the A's, not the Oakland A's anymore. And the 9th inning rolls around in Miami. 6-4 lead for the A's. And Mason Miller comes in. I was talking to Derek Stevens the other day. And Derek is a huge baseball guy. And he told me he believes Mason Miller may be the most dominant pitcher in baseball today. You look at the numbers, you look at what he does, kind of hard to argue, right? Coming into yesterday, 12 appearances, 2 earned runs, 11 of those 12 outings, he had not given up a run, 10 for 10 in saves. So he's coming in out of the bullpen for the Oakland A's. I keep calling them the A's, soon to be Vegas A's. So I want to play you, in case you missed it, I want to play you what unfolded last night in Miami. And I want to give you my small bad beat regarding this, because my little guy, man, he would love nothing more than to watch what happened yesterday in Miami, right? Here's a taste of what unfolded when Kyle Stowers stepped to the plate with the bases loaded, Marlins down 1 against arguably the best closer in the game, Mason Miller.
Now Kyle, first pitch. Stowers hits it out to left center. Soderstrom on the move. That is back, and it's gone to left center field. A walk-off grand slam for Kyle Stowers. And off the reaper, the Marlins come back and win it. Mayhem in Miami. 9-6 your final score.
101.7 mile per hour pitch hit 107 miles an hour out to left field. Kyle Stowers grand slam. Man, how cool. Your little guy, right? Must have been thrilled, right, Tim? Here's the problem. It's right around 4 o'clock. The Kentucky Derby was coming on. Mason Miller's on the hill. He's going to close this thing out, right? We were watching it for a little bit. He didn't seem on point. Threw a couple of wild pitches, gave up that run. We'll turn it off. I didn't find out about this until way later in the night, because we went Derby right into the Game 7s. And I'm, doing my research last night. I'm like, wait, what happened? Kyle Stowers hit a walk-off grand slam off of Mason Miller. We could have watched that, and instead I turned to the Derby. But hey, the Derby at least was fruitful. So a little minor beat from me, but hell, Kyle Stowers, I got a lot of Oriole fans in my life. Kyle Stowers was an Oriole farmhand just a year ago, and he was a part of what is looking to be just an absolutely brutal trade. Remember when the Orioles traded for Trevor Rogers a year ago? And I believe he was designated for assignment like a month later. Yeah, Stowers was a part of that trade. So he and Connor Norby were traded for Trevor Rogers back on the trade deadline a year ago. It is the Oriole fans in my life are not too thrilled right now at how things have been going this season there in the old Charm City. So hell of a finish, though. Kyle Stowers, this dude's balling down in Miami. And to hit a walk-off grand slam off of Mason Miller, who once again came into yesterday, I think his ERA was 1.5. He had given up 2 total earned runs. I think he had given up a home run in a save prior in the season. All right, we're going to talk a little more NBA coming up here in just a bit. Speaking of which, Game 7 tonight, the Golden State Warriors taking on the Houston Rockets. Did the Warriors miss out on their opportunity? It felt a bit odd in Game 5 when they threw in the white towel as early as they did against the Houston Rockets. And honestly, the Rockets almost messed that thing up, right? The Rockets had this massive lead in the third quarter, and Ime Udoka decided to call in his bench squad, and they could not get it done. Ultimately, they had to bring in the starters, but Fred VanVleet, we'll talk about this with Rick Kamla. Can he keep it up? He has been absolutely tremendous in these past couple of games. VanVleet went for 29 yesterday, had 6 3-pointers, and if you're looking at over-under tonight, for Fred VanVleet, as we look at, player props, he is at 17.5. So he's eclipsed that in the last 3 games. Will he continue to be as dominant as he has looked here in the past handful of games? So 17.5 is the over-under tonight for Fred VanVleet. Steph Curry up at 26.5. Jimmy Butler at 23.5. Do the Warriors avoid blowing a 3-1 lead? I think, what was it, 2016? Yeah, comes to mind about a 3-1 blown lead. Does it happen again? Rick Kamla will help us break down not only Warriors and Rockets, but we have Cavs and Pacers. Can the Pacers be pesky against those Cavaliers?
Unplug your cleaning routine with the Ryobi 18-volt 1 Plus cordless cleaning lineup. From the soap-dispensing telescoping power scrubber to the advanced stick vacuum, Ryobi has a solution for every cleaning task. One battery powers over 300 products, giving you the power to do more. Exclusively at the Home Depot.
You're tuned in to the VSiN Weekend Morning Line.
We keep it rolling here on a Sunday morning. I'm Tim Murray, live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas. Another great day ahead for us. We've got 2 games on the hardwood. First up, we will get game 1 of the Celtics start tomorrow, I beg your pardon. We will get the first game of Pacers taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then Game 7 tonight, the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets. And always love checking in with my guy, Rick Kamla, who joins us right now, courtesy of our progressive guest line. You can follow him on Twitter at Rick Kamla Sports. Sports Ethos is where his content is these days. So, Rick, we got a Game 7, and let's just take a little bit of a step back, right? Game 5, I've said it a couple times. I'll say it one more. It does feel like it was a bit of Steve Kerr doing what the Warriors did a couple of years ago. They went down to Memphis, got their butt kicked. Okay, no worries. We'll win Game 6. The problem is they didn't win Game 6, and now here we are. They're an underdog Game 7. Do you have some questions? Do you have some criticism of Steve Kerr and how they've gone about these last couple of games here in this series against the Rockets?
I don't. I just think that Tim, it's great to be back on the air with you, brother. I never bought into the Golden State thing. And I know Jimmy Butler got there and he, ignited Draymond and he ignited Steph and he ignited the whole program and best defensive team since he got there. The win-loss record is impeccable, all that stuff. Okay. I don't trust Jimmy Butler. I think he's a fake superstar. He turns it on, he turns it off. He talks a lot, sometimes backs it up, sometimes he doesn't. I mean, the runs with Miami were absolutely spectacular, right? But I feel like he's gone Hollywood. He's in commercials, he's in movies. I just think he's into all that. I think he's gronking it out right now. So I don't trust him. I don't rock with that. I rock with Steph. Steph's absolutely amazing. And I'm not crazy about, the layers beyond Draymond, Butler, and Steph. I do like Pajemski, but he's in and out, right? And then Moody, and you got all these guys. Gary Payton II may play. He's, a lot better at home than he is on the road. So I'm just not into it. But we were talking before we came on. You used the word tricky. This is a tricky one for me because the home team usually wins a Game 7, but the experienced team usually wins a Game 7, and that's Golden State. Tim, give me the 2.5 with GSW. I got it. And look, the Rockets were my little team that could coming into the year. I love the Rockets, okay? Every year I sort of pick a team, a young up-and-coming team, and last year it was Orlando, and I'm looking for that pop, and I got that pop from Houston. But they're going to have to show me that they can beat Golden State, a dynastic team, in a Game 7, even at home. What is Jalen Green going to do? How is Şengün going to handle this? This is Tim, Game 7s are different, man. Game 7s are different, and it's all about been there, done that versus whoa, deer in headlights. So I got to go GSW tonight.
Yeah, and it's a really, I think back to a couple years ago, and the Rockets had this money to spend, and they go out and they spend all this money on Van Vliet. And I'm thinking, what are they doing here? I mean, I guess you got to spend the money, and this is why they did it. And I give credit because Fred Van Vliet is a guy whose prop tonight, Rick, is sitting at 17.5. But what has he done the last 3 games, even one of those being a loss? He stepped up, right, for this young squad. He had 25 and 8 threes in Game 4, 26 and 4 threes in Game 5, and then Game 6, he goes for 29 with 6 threes. So that's the veteran I feel like they need to rely on. Do you think we get another big performance from Van Vliet, or is it a bit of a regression here tonight? What's your expectations from Van Vliet?
Interesting. He cost me money in Game 4. I'll tell you that. I was on. He did, man. I was on Golden State that night. I mean, another 3. Put a body on him. I was screaming at the television, man. Like, my God, making every shot. I mean, he's hitting like fallaways from 27 feet. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm a big believer, Tim, in the law of averages and the principle of due, or the inverse principle of due. I feel like a clunker's coming from Van Vliet. He had a terrible regular season, and I thought he was playing his way out of Houston. You've got Shepard who's ready to go. I think Amen is ready to go in terms of all that point guard stuff. And the team has an option on him this offseason, and he's at about $40 million right now. I'm not paying $40 million for Fred Van Vliet. You got me messed up. They may do it. I'm not doing that. To me, he's about a $25 to $30 million a year player. To me, he's kind of like approaching, are you still a starter in the NBA? Like, that's how bad he was in the regular season. So he's hit a heater here. He's rolling, but I'm going to fade him tonight.
What do we expect? Rick Kamla joining us here. Look, Steph, I still, I did this whole kind of bit, Rick, when the Four Nations Cup was going on in hockey and everyone was losing their mind and talking crap about the NBA. And I'm like, you do remember the Olympics happened, right? And we got one of the most epic performances we've seen from a superstar in Steph Curry, not only against Serbia in the comeback, but his fourth quarter against France. So I bring that up to say this. Do we get another vintage Steph performance? Because you could just sense the frustration in Game 6. He wanted it so bad, it just wasn't falling. Do we see Steph kind of revert back to what he's able to unearth from time to time, which makes him one of the greatest players ever to walk the earth?
I mean, I'm betting on Steph, but I'm probably not betting a lot. It's probably a one-unit deal, but I got to be honest with you, Tim. I have found that that live betting, point spread versus prop bets is such the better way to go, because you play a prop bet pregame, right? And then you're in it. There's nothing you can do about it. The guy's got foul trouble. The guy turns an ankle. You're screwed. I don't know. Like, I mess around with props from time to time. But back to your Steph question, we've seen what he did against Sacramento in that Game 7. We saw what he did Game 4 at Boston, right, in 22, I believe it was. Like, had that Herculean game, basically flipped the series in their favor. So that's what he does. he does have Amen Thompson on him. Amen Thompson is arguably the best defender in the entire NBA. Steve Kerr says, Draymond Green's the best defender I've ever seen. I tell you what, man, Amen Thompson's a better defender than Draymond Green. Steve Kerr's, I know you got to pump up your own guy, but, like, give me a break, dude. And Steve Kerr was with Rodman. Steve Kerr was with Jordan and Pippen. Bro, and you're telling me that Draymond's the best defender you've ever seen? Crap, it's hogwash. So Tim, here's the deal. I'm not going to play the Steph Curry point prop over. I wouldn't, but if you back me into a corner, I would play the over on that. With the star players, the point props are so overvalued. They're always like 2 points per game over where they should be, and so it's kind of disenfranchising.
No, it's such a great point, Rick. And we do VSiN primetime throughout the week, and obviously we've got live bet Sunday, live bet Saturday here on the network. Live betting is a very profitable way to roll. And think about it last night. Who was winning after the first quarter? Last night, it was the Los Angeles Clippers, and they ended up getting their absolute teeth kicked in. So, I mean, there are opportunities, no doubt, to be had. So you're absolutely right on that front. All right, just a quick veer to what we see today in the first game, which is not a game 7. It's a game 1. Pacers and Cavaliers. I don't want to lead the witness, so I'm not going to tell you what I've bet here in this series. I'm curious, do we see a pesky Pacers squad, or do the Cavaliers continue to be dominant?
I think the Cavaliers are going to continue to be dominant. Tim, this Cleveland team has been eye to eye and nose to nose with OKC all year. We all love OKC. We go on and on and on about OKC, and rightly so. Cleveland's not getting the same love. Cleveland's not getting the same respect. Oh, wait till they play Boston. Oh, wait till they play New York, blah, blah, blah. I've watched them all year. They have shooting. They play defense. They are the second deepest team in the league behind OKC. Great coaching, obviously. There's a love fest, chemistry, cohesion, all that stuff. They have everything you need. They have a great home court advantage. I like them -8.5 here today. I think we're probably going to get a 20-point blowout. They've been laying in the weeds, chilling, resting, and getting ready for Indiana. Look, I like Indiana, but I think they are a full tier, if not 2 tiers below where Cleveland is right now. So I'll take the Cavs. All
right, Rick, 30 seconds. Celtics, Knicks. Can the Knicks stick with this Celtics team, or is it going to be easy cruising for Boston?
Celtics win the series, Tim, but it's going to be a struggle. And in game 1, I like New York +8.5 because Boston is a sketchy home team. They're phenomenal on the road. They're sketchy at home. Give me the Knicks +8.5 in game 1.
Rick, you're my guy. Always appreciate your insight, man. Enjoy the games today.
All right, Tim, take it easy.
There he is, Rick Kamla. Follow him on Twitter at Rick Kamla Sports. Sports Ethos is where you can find all of his content. He does podcasts Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Hey, folks, take your betting to the next level with First Bet. Hopefully you were firing on the First Bet app yesterday with Sovereignty, whether it's Santa Anita, Gulfstream Park, or the road to the Triple Crown. First Bet puts the action at your fingertips. Sign up now, firstbet.com. That's the number 1, stbet.com. Use the promo code VSiN200 and score a 20% rebate on all your wagers for the first 60 days up to $200. Don't miss out. Bet smarter today. Firstbet.com. From the hardwood back to the ice. Game 7. Do we see an epic performance from Connor Hellebuck?
You're tuned in to the VSiN Weekend Morning Line.
We keep it rolling here. Get you ready for a Game 7 tonight on the ice. Will it be as eventful as that third period was last night in Dallas? Mikko Rantanen, what a performance. A hat trick against his former team as the Stars move on, much to my chagrin. But there were some juicy numbers out there if you took the Stars in game. They were down 2-0 at the first media timeout in the third period and ultimately won. And if you had the under in that one, my condolences. Pretty gross beat there for under 5.5. But you bounce back, right? That's what we do in sports gambling. If you had the under last night. So we move ahead to Blues and Jets tonight. And to help us continue our coverage of tonight's action, as well as the Eastern Conference series that will get started on Monday, my guy Stephen Whyno, AP hockey writer, joins us right now, courtesy of our progressive guest line. Look, you've been writing and covering hockey for a long time, and I know you're not covering the Stars and Avs series, but whoever your counterpart down in Dallas, I mean, the story writes itself. Mikko Rantanen, that was just some epic stuff last night, man.
Incredible. And I was saying this to friends of ours last night. I don't know how people who don't watch sports do with their lives, because it's live entertainment that will never happen again. Like, we'll never see that same game ever again. And really, like, even as someone who, people like us who've been around sports for a long time, I did not give the Dallas Stars any chance of winning that game once they fell behind 2-0. And then you see a player make a play like Mikko Rantanen makes, and to tie the score there. And then things just snowball in a way that the Stars showed why they've been one of the Stanley Cup favorites on the betting lines, why even without Jason Robertson and Miro Heiskanen, they can get past the Colorado Avalanche. And there's a reason why Nathan MacKinnon after the game last night was saying, I don't know what we're going to do, because the Avalanche have now become the first team in Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL history to lose 7 consecutive Game 7s.
Oh, at least you had the Joker last night up there in Denver. You had that going for you. But I did want to get you, while we're on the Stars, you mentioned Robertson and Heiskanen are set to return. The Stars will get the winner of tonight's Jets and Blues game. I'm sure they are very much cheering for the St. Louis Blues, if I had to guess. But what do you make of this Stars squad? Because yesterday, if you were had the foresight, and our guest yesterday, Todd Furman, said, you might want to take a little hedge on Stars 15-1. That's now down around plus 550 for them to win the Cup, Steven. So what do you make of this Stars team moving forward, that they were able to win this series without arguably their 2 best players?
Yeah, and on FanDuel this morning, it was down to plus 380 for a minute, and also plus 550 I just saw on BetMGM, that the Stars are among the Stanley Cup favorites now for a reason, because the fact that they got through maybe the toughest opponent they'll have to face the entire time, and that's Edmonton, and Vegas might argue with that, and so might Winnipeg if Connor Hellebuck can stop a beach ball. But the fact that the Stars have gotten through Colorado and are now getting, maybe not for game 1, but at some point in the series, Miro Heiskanen and Jason Robertson back, like, that's your best defenseman, your top defenseman, and your best goal scorer. There's no reason why Dallas can't win the Cup. And look, and when they lose to the Blues in 5, we can laugh about this later. But there's no reason not to think the Stars can go on an incredible run right now. Jake Ottinger is a big time goalie in these situations. He's shown that he's at his best in these big moments. He might be the U.S. starter in net in Milan, the Olympics in February now. The Stars are a team that, along with the Florida Panthers, they might be on a crash course to meet in the Stanley Cup final. Stephen
Whyno joining us here, courtesy of our Progressive Guest Line, covers hockey for the Associated Press at S. Whynos, where you can find him on social media. You spend a lot of time covering the Caps. I want to get to your thoughts on the Caps here in just a moment, but we do have a Game 7 tonight. And Stephen, look, home ice has been over the years kind of, it's not that important. Well, it has been in this series. When you look at the results, it's been drastic, right? The Blues 7-2, 5-1, 5-2 wins at home, and then the Jets 5-3, 2-1, 5-3 at home. And you mentioned it, Connor Hellebuck. It is dumbfounding. I don't understand it as a hockey novice. Can you make sense of this Hellebuck situation? And does he bounce back tonight? Do we see the Vezina Trophy winner in net tonight?
Well, if we don't, the Winnipeg Jets are going home and have a lot of soul searching to do. And at least, and you're right, this has been a very different series for him and for the Jets. 2.33 goals against at home, 4.5 on the road. It's just been a completely different team, completely different goaltender, and that's the advantage. And that's why the Jets earned home ice advantage by winning the President's Trophy and having this throughout the playoffs, is you get to have what is probably maybe the loudest building in the NHL, even though it only seats 16,000 or so, that those fans are loud and care. And you got to give the edge to the Jets based on how they played these games at home throughout the series. But if we see any bit of that road Connor Hellebuck show up, the Blues are a red-hot team. I mean, they've been incredible since Jim Montgomery took over in November, and really specifically since the Four Nations break, the season resumed from that this is a team with confidence, playing with house money, that even if they fall behind in a game, it's not like they can't just play like nothing to lose. And if you're the Winnipeg Jets, you have to do sort of what the Capitals did to Montreal in Game 5 and basically slam the foot on the throat and not let a team sort of have a belief of getting back in a game, getting back in a series, especially now that both teams are facing elimination.
All right, so how do you look at this one tonight? Do the Jets? I couldn't believe this stat when I heard it the other night. First home Game 7 since 1977. I mean, that is wild. What do you make of it tonight? Do the Jets get it done?
I do think the Jets get it done, and it's incredible because that's such a hockey town, and the fans care so much, and the team has done so many of the right things to build to this moment. You find an elite goaltender, you get a great coach in Scott Arniel, you have a top line center in Mark Scheifele, who will not play tonight, by the way. He's been ruled out. He won't play. That is certainly a difference maker in this. But Nikolai Ehlers back. You've got a Norris Trophy caliber defenseman in Josh Morrissey. From everything the building blocks of a franchise you're supposed to do, the Jets have done it all. And now it's a matter of, can they slay these demons like the Maple Leafs have had these demons and the Minnesota Wild still do, of getting over the hump? Because the Jets should be a better team than this. The Jets should be able to make runs like this. And you sort of scratch your head of like, what's wrong otherwise? Because if they lose this game, lose this series, there's going to be a lot of who's getting fired, who's getting traded debates, even after doing just about everything right.
Yeah, when you think about last year, Game 1 against the Avalanche, lose 4 straight, 2023. Granted, they were the last wild card to get in, win Game 1 against Vegas, lose 4 straight. So we'll see what happens tonight. Stephen Whyno helping us break down not only tonight's action, but looking ahead. And let's get to a series that you will be covering very closely, the Washington Capitals against the Carolina Hurricanes. This series starts on Tuesday. And Stephen, a lot of people probably will be surprised to see that the team with the most points in the Eastern Conference won their first round series 4-1 is a pretty sizable dog in the Washington Capitals. We've seen a little bit of Caps money hit the market today. They are still plus 140 dogs. How do you handicap this series, Caps and Canes, starting Tuesday night in our nation's capital?
Tim, it feels like more of a coin flip series to me, and I would have expected the odds to be closer to what Vegas and Edmonton are, where the Oilers are a very, very, very slight favorite, despite not having home ice advantage in that series. I think Carolina should be a slight favorite in this series, just given how good the Hurricanes have looked since the trade deadline on, even though a lot of those games they were playing basically with nothing to play for and were sort of locked into that 2 spot in the Metropolitan Division. That you look at the Capitals, and they have an edge in goal probably. Coaching's pretty even, maybe a more elite talent on Carolina's side. And the difference might honestly come down to the Hurricanes power play, which for the previous 6 playoff runs was clicking at 14, 15%, and is now at 31.6%. And for a team that's needed to get that one last goal to move on the last several playoffs and always sort of fallen short, I think they have that goal. But also, it wouldn't surprise me if the Capitals win the series, just because you got Alex Ovechkin, even at 39 years old, 4 months shy of his 40th birthday, scoring, hitting, doing all those things. To me, that's not the series everyone's talking about, but it's got the potential to be a great hockey tactical series with the way these teams don't like each other and play very similarly.
Well, the series, I think a lot of people, hockey fans, are curious about. You've got the defending champs against the team that you talk about torture, man. Maple Leaf fans have been tortured for how long? They haven't been to an Eastern Conference final since 2002. So it's been a long wait here. Maple Leafs are dogs, but they got home ice. Final minute with you, Stephen. Do the Maple Leafs? Can they do it? Can we get our neighbors to the north a team into the Eastern Conference Finals with the Toronto Maple Leafs?
No, I don't think they can. And I just
you do it so like just sad, just like no, it's not happening.
No, the Florida Panthers are just an unstoppable killing machine. They just until we see the Panthers on the wrong side of a handshake line, I won't believe they lose a series. They've played 9 of them over the last 3 playoffs. They've won 8 of those series. The only reason they lost to Vegas was Matthew Tkachuk had a broken sternum. Ekblad had a broken foot. They were broken. And so the only reason they lost that series to Vegas, and they have this magic about them. They're well coached. You add Marchand and Seth Jones to a team that already had Sam Bennett, Sam Reinhart, Alexander Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk. You just go down the list of this team. Gustav Forsling's terrific. Sergei Bobrovsky. The Leafs might be able to win a game or two, and they could surprise me if eventually the Panthers run out of gas. But to me, I don't think the Florida Panthers. I don't think anybody in the East, maybe not even the NHL, can beat the Florida Panthers.
I'm gonna ISO that no from you. That was cold-hearted, man. Toronto, man, they need that love. Stephen, always appreciate it, brother. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Sam. Talk to you soon.
There he is. Stephen Whyno, at SWhyno is where you can find him on Twitter. The AP hockey writer covers the Washington Capitals. We'll get to our best bets. We'll do that next.
Unplug your cleaning routine with the Ryobi 18 Volt 1 Plus cordless cleaning lineup. Our powerful and versatile tools make cleaning a breeze. One battery powers over 300 products, giving you the power to do more. Visit ryobitools.com to learn more, exclusively at the Home Depot.
You're tuned in to the VSiN Weekend Morning Line.
Yes, indeed, we keep it rolling. Thanks to Stephen Whyno for giving us his thoughts there. I'm still laughing. Can the Maple Leafs do it? No, they can't. I don't know. I'll text Nick Alberga, see what his thoughts are on the Maple Leafs, if they can pull it off. Game 1 of that series is tomorrow night. We have a Game 7 tonight, of course, on the ice. The Winnipeg Jets taking on the St. Louis Blues. Man, Stephen just talked about it. The atmosphere tonight in that barn, that alone, and the fact that I have a bet on the game, which we'll get to here in just a moment, but that alone is something that I can't wait to watch. And you think back to the third period when things got rolling in Dallas last night. That place was on fire, and now you get a city that's starved like Winnipeg, a franchise that, once again, I'm using Stephen's words here, has kind of done everything right to get to this point. They win the President's Trophy this year, which I know over the years has been at times a bit of a curse. I remember a number of years in D.C. the Caps winning President's Trophy and then ultimately laying an egg, so to speak, in the postseason. But last 2 years, win Game 1, lose 4 straight. Obviously, that's not the case here. But Connor Hellebuyck, I mean, it's wild to look at the numbers for regular season versus postseason for him. In the postseason, over the last 3 years, Vegas 2 years ago, granted, is it fair to look at that, the year that Vegas went on to win the Cup? Maybe not, but they can win Game 1, lose the next 4 straight. Last year, win Game 1 against Colorado, lose 4 straight, and now here we are. Connor Hellebuyck's been pulled in all 3 games on the road. 4.32 goals against average these past 3 postseasons, 85.8% save percentage, 2.29 goals against average the last 3 regular seasons. So kind of puts it into perspective of what it's been like for Connor Hellebuyck. I do think we see a better performance from him here tonight. And one thing that, and I haven't heard from him this morning, but one thing he had just thrown out there, Todd Furman, when talking to him about this Game 7, was the saves for Hellebuyck and maybe looking under. And if this Jets team tries to play it so that Connor Hellebuyck doesn't have to make a ton of saves, under 21.5 saves is plus 105. So once again, I'm not saying that was a best bet from Todd, but I do remember thinking back to yesterday's chat with him was maybe a prop to look at there from a Connor Hellebuyck situation. I'll get to my best bet here in just a moment, but I want to remind you folks, as a VSiN Pro subscriber, you can get access to our betting splits. And right now we've got our summer special going on. We've got another special going on right now where you can get 14 months for $199. So you get 2 months for free, and you get it around $20 a month. So less than that. So VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code PRIME. But you get our betting splits over at VSiN.com, courtesy of both DraftKings and Circa. So take a look at the betting splits right now on Blues and Jets. And believe it or not, the over is getting peppered by the betting public. 77% of the bets at DraftKings on the over for Blues and Jets, 77% of the handle. As for the money line, Jets getting 64% of the bets, but the Blues, people getting seduced by that juice, to steal a phrase from my friend Brad Evans. So that is a look there. And then on the puck line, it seems like folks are going with the Jets, at least from the money standpoint, 81% of the bets on the Winnipeg Jets. As for Circa, 80% of bets on the over, 73% of money on the under in Blues and Jets. As for the NBA tonight, of course, we have Game 5 of this series. Game 7 of this series here. And when you look at the NBA splits for this evening as I am trying to get those up. The Golden State Warriors getting 53% of the bets, but more money on the Rockets at DraftKings right now. 53% of the bets, but 61% of the money, and all of the money, every dollar of it seems like on the over at DraftKings, Golden State and Houston. All right, let's get to best bets, brought to you by our friends at G-Bank. All our best bets always brought to you by G-Bank, the official bank of VSiN. All right, I've got two for you, and we got to lay a little juice, so do with it what you will. You can maneuver that number a bit. We'll start on the ice. I'm going to go back to the well, man. I'm going to play the first period under. I laid $1.40 yesterday. It's out to minus 150 this morning. If you do want to, I'll do it real quick. If you want to parlay it with, let's say, the Cleveland Cavaliers, if you think the Cavaliers are going to take care of business, you certainly could do that at a short plus price. But for the official bet purposes, I actually did both. I took first period under as well as first period under with the Cavaliers. So split my unit there. But I always say don't want to get too cute because, boy, wouldn't that be a kick to the fellas if the Cavaliers don't get it done, but the first period under comes home. So I split my unit. Now, it is worth noting the first period under has not been the friend of the bettor in this particular series, right? Game 1, Jets and Blues. 4 goals in the first period. Game 2, 2 goals. Game 3, 3 goals. Game 4, 2 goals. Game 5, 3 goals. Over in the first 5 games. You did see it under in Game 6. So the over is 5-1 in the first period in this series. And you've got to pay the tax, right? As we discussed with Jonathan Davis earlier in the show. Wow, it's up to minus 155. Holy smokes, man. You are seeing a lot of money come in. So look. That seems a bit pricey. We were talking about it yesterday with the first period under in abs and stars, and Todd had alluded to, minus 20, probably the most expensive he wants to go. That tax is ridiculous right now, but I played it at minus 40. If you want to pair it up with a parlay piece, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to that, but I expect Hellebuck to bounce back, and I don't know if I want to go full game under because you could get the shenanigans that we saw last night with the empty netter as a possibility. I think Winnipeg wins this game. If you want to go, maybe wait and see how it plays out. Something Scott Seidenberg and I did on Thursday night was, wait it out. And if the Jets are up 1 goal in the third period, maybe you take an in-game puck line opportunity there. But I will be going first period under. Once again, the juice is now pretty expensive, out to $1.55. So if you do want to pair it up to try to bring down that juice, certainly wouldn't be opposed to that. Just a reminder, as mentioned, our best bets brought to you by G-Bank, and G-Bank is upping the ante with up to a $750 bonus for new G-Bank Visa Signature Card customers. First, new customers who spend $1,000 on eligible purchases within 90 days from account opening receive a $250 bonus. In addition, if you spend $50,000 on gaming and sports app loads within the 30 days of account opening, you'll receive another $500 bonus. That's potentially a $750 bonus. Apply now, VSiN.com. That's VSIN.com/GBank. Subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions do apply. So there we go. First period under. And I was going to try to put together that parlay for you real quickly. And it's taking me a little bit longer. Oh, here we go. We'll do this. First period under. Wow, minus 160 now out at DraftKings. And if you paired it up at DraftKings with minus $1.60 to the Cavs on the money line, plus 112. So there you go if you want to lower that juice. And I mentioned the Cavaliers and Pacers because I've been on this bet, I think, since VSiN Primetime earlier this week. I laid the juice. Cavaliers double result. DraftKings still has it at a minus 185. Cavaliers win tonight and win the series. That is the way I am looking to attack this series. And I know JVT has discussed it on Money Moves, looking at some, spreads for this particular series. Famous last words as a bettor, right? Congratulations on beating the Bucks. I think the Cavaliers are a bit undervalued here. The number has come down. It was as high as $5. It's now to minus 425. I'm not going to lay minus 425, but I think they win this series, the Cavaliers. I think they take care of business tonight as an 8-point favorite. So we'll go the double result. And I was looking around. The prices varied. I think it was as high as minus 250 at a shop here in town. I think FanDuel was north of $2. So $1.85 for me. I thought you were getting a little bit cheaper price there. So the double result for me, Cavaliers win today, win game 1, win the series, minus 185. So my 2 best bets will go first period under in Winnipeg tonight against the St. Louis Blues, and we'll go the double result, Cavaliers to win game 1 today and win the series at minus 185. All right, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we will continue to get you ready for 2 Game 7s today. We'll hear from Steve Kerr. We'll hear from St. Louis Blues coach Jim Montgomery as they get ready for game number 7. In hour 2, we will also chat with Wes Reynolds, get his best bets for the day. It's the VSiN Weekend Morning Line.
Ryobi now makes floor-to-ceiling cleaning easier than ever with cordless cleaning tools powered by 18-volt 1+ batteries. Whether it's a quick tidy-up or deep cleaning, our powerful and versatile tools make cleaning a breeze. Spend less time cleaning and more time enjoying your pristine home. And because one battery powers over 300 products, you have the power to do more. Visit ryobitools.com to learn more. Sold exclusively at the Home Depot.